Hi, my name's Danielle Wilson. I'm a consultant clinical psychologist working in the Trust. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and as part of that, I'm going to talk to you today about mindfulness, what it is, how it can support well-being, and I'll also lead us through a brief practice. So first of all, what is mindfulness? There are lots of different ways to think about it, but really it's just about consciously tuning in to whatever's happening here and now. Where we are, what we're doing, the stories our mind tells us, the way that we're feeling physically and emotionally. So it sounds pretty simple, but really it can be quite hard for us at times. We have brains that are very good at mental time travel. We rewind into the past and we relive things that have already happened that we can't change. Or we fast forward into the future. We imagine, we worry about, and we pre-live things that haven't happened and might not happen, and things that we can't control. When we practice mindfulness, we also try to accept our experience as it is in the moment. That doesn't mean we have to like it, and it doesn't mean we won't ever try to change it, but it does mean that we try to be willing to experience it as it is. Often when there are things about our experience that we don't like, we start struggling with them automatically. So we look for ways to suppress, avoid or control what's happening. This often doesn't work. Sometimes the most effective thing that we can do is to observe what's going on for a while, and this can sometimes help us find better ways of managing things. It's no wonder that we find ourselves struggling with these kinds of thinking patterns. Our human brains are built for survival, so the default mode is better safe than sorry. This means that we're wired to recall and notice threat-related stimuli more easily, but it doesn't always serve us well to get caught up in these thinking habits, and it can result in us feeling more stressed and anxious. So mindfulness can help with this. It can help to think about a field with tall, wavy grass. If you walk that field from one corner to another repeatedly, a path emerges. Each time you cross the field, you walk it that same way without consciously thinking about it. It's just the easiest way to travel. And this is like the brain's default mode. When we practice mindfulness, it's like choosing to cross that field in a different way. And it might feel strange and awkward at first. You might even suddenly find yourself back on the old path without knowing how or why you got there. But with repetition and practice, a new path can start to emerge, and over time it gets stronger. Whilst the old path might begin to fade, the less it's used. So let's try an exercise now. To begin with, try and find a posture that helps you feel like you're stable and alert. We sometimes talk about sitting tall in the saddle, so finding a posture that reflects that might be helpful for you. You can close your eyes if you wish, but if that feels uncomfortable, you might want to choose a spot on the wall or the floor to focus on and let your gaze soften. I call this exercise an anchor exercise. If you think about a ship that goes out to sea, it might drop an anchor, and that anchor stops it from drifting too far. In this exercise, what we're going to do is to practice anchoring our attention on different aspects of our experience. When you do this, it's very common to find that your attention wanders. That's fine, it's just what minds do. But when you notice this has happened, just gently acknowledge whatever it is that's captured your attention and then bring your focus back. So let's start. First of all, let's begin just by noticing sounds around us and using this as our anchor. Notice sounds that come and go, and sounds that are more continuous. You might notice sounds that are high in pitch and any that are low in pitch. Notice the sounds that are very loud and sounds that are much more soft and subtle. Perhaps notice whereabouts sounds emerge in relation to you. In front, behind, from your left or right. You may notice your mind trying to distract you with thoughts and judgments. Perhaps, am I doing this right? Or is something supposed to be happening? This is fine, just as our ears hear, our minds think. But as best you can, try to just acknowledge the thoughts without getting caught up in them, and then bring your attention back to noticing sounds. Next, we're going to shift our focus and anchor our attention on sensations. Notice the sensations of contact where your feet meet the ground. If you're sitting or lying down, notice sensations where your body is supported by the chair or a bed or a mat. Notice where your hands are resting. Perhaps see if you can detect the feel of your clothing against your skin. If your eyes are closed, you might notice the sensations where your eyelids touch. In the third part of the exercise, we're going to shift focus again, and this time use the breath as our anchor. So firstly, just becoming aware of the sensations in your body as you inhale and exhale. Notice the movement as your lungs expand and contract. Perhaps notice the rhythm of your breathing. You might notice the sensation of air moving at your nostrils or mouth as you breathe. When focusing on the breath, some people found it helpful to count, and you might want to experiment with that. Counting 1 as you inhale, 2 as you exhale, and continuing to count onwards. Should you reach the number 10, you can start again from 1. And similarly, if you get lost at any time, you can just start again. There's no particular number you need to get to. Other people find it helpful to have a visual support. So again, you can experiment with this. Perhaps imagine a dot surrounded by a larger circle. As you breathe, imagine that the dot shrinks and expands in time with your own breathing. And now, as we get ready to end the exercise, just observing the breath for 3 more cycles. When you're ready, opening your eyes if you've had them closed. Thank you for practicing. If you found this exercise useful, there's a really helpful app called Headspace, which is currently free for NHS staff. You can find out about this and other apps that support wellbeing on the Trust's intranet pages.